Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a secretary bird. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the front part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. On the right side of the circle, make a small mark for the back portion of the body. Connect the small mark to the circle using sloping lines to finish the guide for the back portion of the body. This guide should be similar to a long arc on its side. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. On the top left side, draw a small circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. The head circle should be about 1/4 the size of the first circle. Don't place the head circle too close to the body or the neck will be too short. Inside the head circle, draw 2 intersecting lines. These are construction guides that will help you place the facial features later on. On the left side of the head, draw a small arc as a guide for the beak. Pay attention to how small the arc is in relation to the head. Under the body, draw a long angled line as a guide for the first leg. Bend the line near the middle to indicate a joint. Secretary birds have long legs, so don't draw this line too short. To the left, draw another long angled line as a guide for the other leg. Bend this line near the middle to indicate the joint and at the bottom to indicate the foot. Connect the head to the body using sloping lines to create the guide for the neck. The bottom of the neck should be wider than the top. On the right side of the body, draw a long horizontal line as a guide for the tail. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small circle for the eye. Place the circle on the top left side of the construction guides. When you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. Draw a curved line on the top part of the eye for the eyelashes. Darken the bottom part of the circle and add a small angled line on the left side for the inner corner of the eye. On the right side, draw another angled line for the outer corner of the eye. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw another circle and shade it in for the pupil. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circle when you shade the pupil. Draw a curved line on top of the eye for the eyelid. Add a few smaller lines around the eye for wrinkles. Keep these lines close to the shape of the eye. Add a very light value to the top of the eye. Use the curved line on the left side as a guide to draw the beak. Darken the top part of the guide but extend the line downward to create the tip of the beak. Curve the line back up and inside the guide and then to the right to create the mouth. Draw the mouth along the horizontal construction guide. The right tip of the mouth should be below the eye. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. Darken the bottom part of the guide for the lower half of the beak. Extend the line so that it's inside the head. Draw a curved line around the mouth. Break up the path of the curved line. On the top part of the beak, draw a small oval-like shape for the nostril. Draw a few lines around the nostril. Use the initial circle as a guide to draw the rest of the head. Darken the path of the circle, but make the top part flatter. Extend the line on the left side so that the head is longer. Use short strokes as you darken the head to create a feathery texture. Make the right side of the head a bit flatter than the initial guides. Darken the guides under the beak for the feathery throat. Inside the head, draw a few lines around the eye that separate the feathers from the bare skin. Add a few more short strokes inside the head to emphasize the feathery texture. Now draw the long feathers on the back of the head. Each individual feather is made up of a long, thin shape with a curved top. The top part of each feather should be wider than the bottom. Make the feathers different sizes. Make the feathers different widths too. Gradually rotate the orientation of the feathers. You can add as many or as few of these feathers as you'd like. Rotate the feathers so that they have a horizontal orientation at the bottom and a vertical orientation at the top. The feathers in the middle should be long and the feathers at either end should be short. Inside the body, lightly sketch a long thin shape for the folded wing. The shape of the wing should be similar to the shape of the body. The shape should be wide on the left side and thin on the right side. When you get the shape of the wing right, darken the lines. Curve the bottom edge of the wing for the feathers. On the left side of the wing, draw a sloping line that's made up of short strokes for feathers. Near the middle of the wing, draw a curved line that's made up of short strokes for more feathers. Add long lines on the right side of the wing for longer feathers. Use the angled line under the body that's on the right side as a guide to draw the first leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top part of the leg wide and then gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. At the bottom, keep the edges of the leg close to the guideline so that the shape is thin. Draw a couple of curved lines at the very bottom for the toes. The top part of the leg should be inside the body. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. Draw a short line near the joint to indicate where the feathers end. Keep the bottom half of the leg thin. The foot is being lifted as the bird steps forward, so the toes should be pointing down. Draw each toe using a couple of short curved lines. On the tip of each toe, draw a small triangular shape for the talons. Draw a smaller toe slightly higher. Add a nail on the tip of this toe too. Use the line on the left as a guide to draw the other leg the same way. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top wide and the bottom narrow. At the bottom, draw a couple of short, thin shapes for the toes. When you get the shape right, darken the lines. Draw a few short strokes near the middle to indicate where the feathers separate from the bare skin. Keep the edges on the bottom half of the leg close to the guideline so that the shape is thin. At the bottom, draw 2 curved lines on the left side for the toes. Draw tiny triangular shapes on the tips of the toes for the talons. Add a curved line on the right side for the backward pointing toe. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Use short strokes on the underside of the body to create a feathery texture. Draw a couple of short angled lines on the right side of the neck for longer feathers. Darken the top part of the body but make the shape slightly wider than the initial guidelines. Make the bottom part of the body thinner than the initial guidelines. Use short strokes for a feathery texture. Darken the line on the right for the first part of the tail. Draw another horizontal line at the bottom to make the shape of the tail thicker. Make the right side of the tail wide and the left side narrow. Use short strokes to create a feathery texture. On the left side, draw short sloping lines for individual feathers. Don't make the shape of the tail too wide. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a dark value to shade the feathers on the head, the right side of the wing, and the tops of the legs. Use a medium value to shade the bare skin on the head and the rest of the wing. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Use a dark value for the tip of the tail and the talons too. Use a medium value throughout the body to create some shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Shade the rest of the body using a very light value for the white feathers. As you shade, use strokes that go in the direction of the feathers. Draw a shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for the secretary bird. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.